All right, we start off with the Daily Nation. Why Ruto and Raila saved Sakaja. It is a compromise, and President and ODM leader met hostile Nairobi MCAs separately to broker truce yesterday. They worry about disruptive poll campaigns in the capital city if governor and deputy are ousted. Fear of a showdown with former DP Rigathi Gachagua in by-election and impact on 2027. Concerns broad-based government critics exploiting ouster plot to derail unity pact. Why Ruto Raila saves Sakaja from being kicked out of office, according to this newspaper, is say the combined efforts of the president and ODM leader Raila Odinga that rescued Nairobi Governor Johnson Sakaja from impeachment have lifted the lead on the high-stakes politics of the capital city ahead of the 2027 elections. Now, fears of disruptive by-election campaigns in the event that both Mr. Sakaja and his deputy James Mushiri were impeached, display of authority in the city's politics, and scuttling any threats to the broad-based government were the heart of the efforts by the two leaders to have the impeachment motion dropped. Now, ODM has given Sakaja 1 month to put things right with the members of the county assembly. He's too out of touch with issues affecting Nairobi and Nairobi residents.
Question is, and this is what many people are wondering, should this be seen as an interference by the national leaders on whatever county assemblies are doing, because they have a right to do their politics and determine what they want. Now, county assemblies cannot even push through with an impeachment. Wanaitwa State House, wanaitwa sijui wapi, wanaambiwa nyinyi wacheni maneno.
Kunywa chai.
Wacheni maneno. Should it be seen as interference anyway?
All right. Other stories here. After 45 billion shillings NTSA deal, tycoons eye sugar trade. Businessman Farid Abdul Razak Sheikh and Jabir Abdul Nasir Al Kandi, who are eyeing a 45 billion shillings smart driving license tender, have made an aggressive entry into the sugar industry. Now, there's a lot being said here. Kuna watu wengi wako involved here. Tinderet Sugar Factory Limited, inaelekea pale Abs Trading Limited, and then the owners there are Bernard Soy, Alfred Soy, Brian Soy, Lena Chesang, John Paul Kipyegon, Stanley Kipkirui, partnered with Jaramogi Investments. Yani, there's a lot. It's a web. Your take up on the front page, and this story has been covered on page 7 of this newspaper. And they're saying land tonnage and amounts involved in numbers. 45 million shillings is the value of the smart driving license tender. 5,000 Kenyan shilling, 5,000 acres inherited by West Valley Sugar Factory for Muhoroni Sugar. 1,000 is the size in acres of President William Ruto's land in Kilgoris. 1,250 tons of cane Tinderet Sugar Factory will crush per day. And 2023 is when the Treasury approved a feasibility study of the driving license program. It's an expose and a special feature by this newspaper on page 7. It's a sweet deal once again. Chim Chim supermarket was started in the 1990s by Samuel Kipsoi Kipteret Ngetich. It's an interesting story. On the inside pages, free learning billions lost in ghost school learners. CBC meets AI and how teachers are using ChatGPT in class. Oh, wow. County bosses step up resistance to executive decrees. And on the back page, CAF Nations League will boost the game in Africa. Football Federation boss Motsepe says he's keen to grow football. And starlet striker Nanjala joins Saudi Arabian club. These are the stories making headlines. Some of the stories making headlines in the Daily Nation this morning.
All right. Similar story on the front page of Taifa Leo. Anasema ni mosho moja. Gavana wa Nairobi anusurika kufurushwa kwa tundu la sindano baada ya Ruto na Raila kukutana na MCAs. Rais William Ruto na kiongozi wa chama cha ODM Raila Odinga walichangia pakubwa katika kumwokoa gavana wa Nairobi Johnson Sakaja asiondolewe mamlakani na madiwani, hasa kwa hofu ya athari za kisiasa kuelekea uchaguzi wa 2027. Asema gavana wa Nairobi Johnson Sakaja. Hii ni picha ya kitambo akihutubia maseneta. Walikuwa nadhani atafika Senate. Hiyo impeachment ingefika Senate, mambo angekuwa tofauti. Vidokezo zaidi, aliyefariki nchini Haiti atambuliwa. Huyu ni afisa wa polisi wa Kenya aliyefariki katika ajali nchini Haiti. Kwingineko, zigo la lipa mdogo mdogo, waathiriwa wasema mpango huo unatumika kwa mtego wa kibiashara. Hawa ni wale wanunua simu wanalipa mdogo mdogo kila siku. Shilingi 70, shilingi 60.
Every day. Mtu aliuliza kama kuna iPhone ya lipa mdogo mdogo.
Utatoa hapo 2,000 kila siku.
Director amesema watu wa iPhone wafanye hiyo mambo.
Watu wa iPhone wanapewa za bure kwingineko. Haya, vidokezo zaidi, maporomoko ya ardhi yaua watu 1,000 Sudan. Wapiganaji wa Sudan SLM walithibitisha mauti hayo na kusema mmoja tu alinusurika. Tukirejea hapa nyumbani pale juu kwenye ukurasa wa mbele wa gazeti hili, wanasema ndoa ya Ruto na Raila yaibua joto. Ukuruba umeanza kuzua mchecheto kwenye kambi. Na hii pia kufurushwa kwa gavana wa Nairobi ingechangia pakubwa mchecheto kwenye ndoa hii ya Ruto na Raila. Masuala ya spoti, ubabe wa mapesa, uhamisho. Liverpool iliongoza kwa kutumia shilingi bilioni 72 hasa iliposajili Sakaja. Gazeti la Taifa Leo.
All right. Tukisonga mbele, The Standard, stop this mess. Foreign occupation. Jubilant fighters boast of seizing farms in Mandera and even thank Kenya for the warm welcome, quote unquote, as citizens flee their homes and government maintains an ominous silence. This is no isolated incident. From classrooms in Mandera turned into barracks to fishermen gunned down on Lake Turkana, Kenyans are left to bury their dead and abandon their homes as officials look away. The president is keen on politics. The CDF is missing in action, while the Defense Cabinet Secretary is only seen on the lawns of State House during cabinet meetings. There's a quote here from a Jubilant fighter. Kenya is our friend and has accommodated as well since early August after a fight broke out between us and the federal government forces who invaded our bases in Belet Hawa. We have no problem with the people of Mandera. And according to another Mandera resident, anasema, I have moved my 92-year-old husband to Softu together with our children on a day mid last month when the village turned into a battleground for Jubaland and Somalia National Army. So tumekuwa tukisema yule Roads Transport Secretary ndiye amenyamaza sana, lakini it turns out Defense Cabinet Secretary, according to The Standard, is only seen on the lawns of State House during.
I find that quote very funny, where one of the Jubilant fighters now says Kenya is a friendly country to them. Remember, this is just one militia, and they're fighting the Somalia National Government Army. So what exactly are you saying? That Kenya, just the same way it's been accused of being friendly to RSF in Sudan, is also friendly to a militia in Somalia? Mambo ni mengi.
This story is on page 4 and 5 of The Standard. Other stories on the inside, because this is the only story on the front page of The Standard. Interesting. Page 4 and 5. You can take a look at it. Wangamati, 3 brothers and kin charged with stealing 70 million shillings.
Similar to what we've seen in Uganda.
Former governor's siblings alleged to have engaged in fraudulent procurement. They also allegedly submitted false documents for road maintenance. So basically, the governor was giving, the relatives some tender to supply 1 to 3. Lakini wote wako caught. I wanted to say something, lakini I might be misquoted. Barchoken County contractor faced 2 million shillings graft charges. Rangers killed, missing Nakuru fisherman, star witness testifies. This is Brian Odhiambo, and he went missing in January of this year. Hajawahi patikana. Other stories, that story on Mandera and where? In Jubilant. On page 4.
They cover the story as well. Ruto and Raila have betrayed voters. Now, these are the same MCAs who've been convinced to withdraw their impeachment motion. Now, in this paper, they're accusing the 2 leaders of betraying the voters. So they're still not happy that they've been forced. Hence the question. Isn't this undue influence? If the MCAs are unhappy that the intervention by the president and the former prime minister is not what they wished for, isn't this undue influence in the workings of the county assembly? Lakini walikubali wenyewe.
Walikubali.
Wanaweza rudi na waseme wataendelea.
Ni watu wakubwa, nani atawapiga?
Ni watu wakubwa by the club. The story on page 11. Your favorite musician has been taken to court accused of rape in the US. Find out who on page 11 of the Standard.
Noma sana.
Noma sana.
On the back page, why playing at Kasarani will be magical for Kenya. Kenya and Gambia is set for crucial 2026 World Cup qualifiers clash. The 2 teams have met once in the The what? In a draw last March.
I really hope we'll see the same kind of zeal that we saw and excitement what we saw for Chan.
Yeah.
Yeah, this time around there are no millions for the Harambee Stars if at all they win or they beat Gambia, but they're still our national team. Are you going to show up at the stadium to cheer them on this Friday?
All right, at 4 p.m. this Friday, Kenya versus Gambia at the Moi International Sports Center, Kasarani. That's the standard this morning. All
right, People Daily hapo wanazungumzia blessings versus curses. Churches that backed President Ruto but are now against him. Unaona hapa alienda akavaa uniform za kanisa zote, dini ya Musambwa, ule mwingine gani, alafu sasa ni kama hawaelewani naye. That story is on page 4, even as the People Daily continues with his analytical pieces on the state of politics. Their motto is different. Wanajiita people and politics. Yeah. How Ruto and Raila came to Sakaja's rescue is also a big story, and that is current affairs. And the MCAs are not very happy yet. They are convinced. I've seen Robert Alai tweeting because one of the people who convened that meeting was MP for Makadara, naitwa George Aladwa. So George Aladwa was like the chair of that meeting, lakini later Robert Alai, who was the spokesperson of the MCAs, anasema Aladwa was very disrespectful to the MCAs. They're not happy. They are simply not happy, but they've been forced by these two leaders in some way. According to the dailies, if you read, they say they were forced to withdraw.
Well, okay.
Wengine wameambiwa hatutawapea ticket ya 2027 mkiendelea hivi mnaendelea. Ikabidi warudi nyuma. Why graft allegations may still haunt Governor Mutai, that's the Kericho governor who survived impeachment last week. Ilikuwa last week?
It was last week, and this is a push by Senator Aaron Cheriot. Amesema justice, watu lazima wapatiwe justice. People of Kericho and these MCAs. Amesema it might not be through the houses of parliament. It might be through the DPP, DCI, something, lakini lazima wapatiwe justice.
Okay. All right, that's the People Daily.
The Star Youth Vote rivals gear up for fight over Gen Z voters. 6 million new voters expected to tilt the equation in 2027 election. This story is on page 6. Tumekuwa tukiongelelea Gen Z sana tangu last year around June. So they say rivals gear up for fight over Gen Z voters. This story is on page 6. Tuone Gen Z wamefanya nini leo. Race for tyranny of numbers as IEBC opens voter listing, and candidates who have expressed interest are already eyeing the Gen Z vote. Kila mtu anataka kuwa associated na Gen Zs. Other stories here, how staff salaries are draining varsity coffers.
Namona nabaona hapo. Ninajua mwalimu mmoja wa hiyo Technical University of Kenya. Hao ndio wana drain university coffers.
Jamani. Okay, mimi ni hapo mata.
The wage bill actually stands at 116%.
Sawa. Wako wengi hapa.
How does that university even survive?
Even Kenyatta University is here. My two alma maters are here. Technical University of Kenya and
unajua mwalimu yote wa Technical University?
Imagine, I don't know. I don't know if they're watching when this morning, but I'll find out.
Ninajua mwalimu mmoja. Huwa anakuanga hapa hivi studio.
Jamani. Other stories here on the front page of the Star this morning. Sakaja apologizes to MCAs as Ruto and Raila come to his rescue. Lakini anasema pale, please save me.
I like the photo they've chosen. Okay, this is from a previous event. But wametumia hiyo kama amepiga magoti ndo azungumze na baba.
Hata kama ni wewe utamsave.
Akipiga magoti. Lakini hakupiga magoti jana.
No, inamaanisha this is now their relationship. Maybe that is how it has been.
He was given 2 minutes yesterday in that meeting to apologize. 2 minutes. You know, the meeting was 8 hours long. He apologized in 2 minutes.
All right, he has 1 month to mend fences with MCAs or once again face their wrath. And this was the resolution of high-stakes parallel meeting led by President William Ruto yesterday and the ODM leader Raila Odinga. Huddle for reform as governors place demands on UHC. Watu wamekuwa wanataka wakuwe employed on PNP for a very long time. But governors are saying there is no money to, to pay them and have them still under permanent and pensionable terms. This story is on page 8, lakini unasema ni kama governors have agreed on something. Corruption charges. Former Governor Wangamati freed on 1.5 million shillings bail, but chalk out on 5 million shillings bail. That's the Star this morning. Fresh, independent, different. Grab a copy at 60 Kenyan shillings.
Finally, matters business. Kenyans insure food crops, dogs, horses for 36.7 billion shillings. Climate shocks drive crop livestock insurance uptake, covers for beef, dairy, cattle, and largest at 9.4 billion shillings, which is a positive move. In a country where insurance has long been associated with cars, homes, and health, Kenyans are rewriting the playbook by taking out covers for goats, rabbits, dogs, and even trees, putting them in line for payouts worth billions of shillings. Something positive for the insurance industry, but also to cushion farmers who, from time to time, get to lose their property because of adverse weather patterns and things like that. Beef cattle is the highest insured, even way ahead of dairy cattle. Poultry comes next. Camels, goats, sheep, pigs, dogs, horses, and rabbits. The rabbits wako pale chini. State House withdrew 3.6 billion shillings for travel and meetings in 42 days. 3.6 billion. Hii ni kama karibu 100 million shillings every day. Yes. Highlighting the difficulties in enforcing austerity measures to plug budget holes. This is according to the Controller of Budget, and it's there on the front page of the Business Daily. Other quick highlights: 11 banks must raise 15 billion for December or risk license. Task policy shift leaves Nova School fighting. And Kampala, Dar beat Nairobi in prime warehouse rent yields. Those are some of the business headlines today as captured by the Business Daily.
All right, once again in the State of...
Once again, a reminder of our panel this morning on State of the Nation. Professor Fred Ogola, who's a commissioner, People's Restorative Justice Commission, and Julius Ruto, MPKSS. They'll be in studio in a few minutes' time.
All right. Being Relationship Wednesday today, we are shining the spotlight on single dads on the other side of single parenthood, with Jera Etale, a parent in Maich, and Ajita CEO, Professional Mentors of Africa.
All right.
Coming your way after State of the Nation, tuangalie caricature.
Wachoraji wanasema nini? Tunaanza hapa na